Hey guys, remember to check out our saber shop, Fantasy Sabers. It's the first link in the description. Let's start today's story during Revenge of the Sith. Anakin has just murdered Mace Windu and turned to the dark side. Palpatine is overjoyed and he tells his new apprentice to go to the Jedi Temple and exterminate the Jedi. Order 66 is given and Anakin goes to the temple with the 501st Legion. As we see in the film, the Order collapses and the Jedi Temple turns to rubble and ash. Across the city, Padme weeps as she worries about her husband and if he is safe. She can't bear to lose him, not when she is only days away from giving birth. Her fear and anxiety takes over and she decides to travel to the temple to find him. She gets in her speeder and travels towards the temple, arriving and seeing the clones massacring the Jedi. She keeps her speeder in the air as she assesses the carnage in front of her. Screams of death and sadness can be heard everywhere. It was an extremely confronting sight. From below, she can hear someone calling her name. Looking down, she sees Bail Organa, who tells her to get in his ship. They need to stick together. Organa tries to tell Padme that she is leaving and that there is no place for her, but Padme refuses, which confuses Bail, who thought there is no reason why she should be here. But the senator looks determined and he knows that it must be important. They sneak into the temple through the upper level by a secret passageway that Anakin had told Padme about. All around them, blaster fire takes the lives of Jedi. Neither of them could comprehend what was happening. It was terrifying. As they watch the destruction unfold, they enter the temple. Amidala and Organa watch a rogue Jedi in the distance, defending his life. They rush towards him immediately, picking up blasters from dead clones. They begin to fire and help the Jedi out. The Jedi immediately recognizes them as senators, thanking them for their assistance. He introduces himself as Kelleran Beck. They ask what is happening, but even Beck can't answer that. He says that he was already in his quarters about to sleep when he heard gunfire, so he left his room to find clones exterminating Jedi in their sleep. At first, he believed it was a malfunction, so he rushed to the Great Hall to tell someone when he found thousands of them slaughtering the Order. The three of them continue throughout the temple, attempting to remain hidden as they go deeper. Organa finally stops and commands Padme to tell him why they are here, what could be so important to risk their lives inside the temple. Padme, on the verge of tears, finally admits that it's Anakin. She has to know if he's safe. Bail looks stunned, then calms his facial expressions. He comforts her and promises her that they'll find him. Bail knew that Skywalker and Amidala were close, and there was even a small inclination that perhaps she felt more for him than she let known. Nevertheless, she is his friend and he will help her. Continuing further, Kelleran helps a few more Jedi along the way, creating a small rebel band working together to survive. As they go to the meditation chamber on the mid-floor, they help Shakti fight off a dozen clones, and they take a quick break. It's time to go to the Great Hall where most of the fighting takes place. As Kelleran, Padme and Bail rounded the corner to the Great Hall, Kelleran urged the two to hide, knowing they were the greatest risk without Force abilities. They crouched behind a large column, peering out just in time to witness the chaos unfolding. The hall was a battlefield, filled with the sound of blaster fire and clashing lightsabers. Shakti's voice rang out, her tone a mixture of defiance and desperation, as she claimed that he was coming. In the center of the hall, a hooded figure, flanked by a legion of clone troopers, wielded a sapphire blade with brutal efficiency. Bail's breath stopped as he tried to comprehend the horror before him. Jedi being cut down by one of their own. The hooded figure's movements were a deadly dance as he lifted a youngling with the Force, holding him aloft before mercilessly decapitating him. A chilling realization washed over Padme. Her eyes widened in shock and disbelief as the hood slipped back, revealing the face of her husband, Anakin Skywalker. In that moment, the hall seemed to close in, the air heavy with the scent of betrayal and the echoes of fallen heroes. Padme's heart shattered, the gruesome reality of Anakin's transformation searing into her soul, while Bail's mind raced, struggling to reconcile the heroic Jedi he knew with the monster before him. Bail knew what was about to happen, and he didn't like it, but before he could react, Padme leaped from behind the column, her voice a desperate scream.
Anakin!
The moment froze as her cry echoed through the Great Hall, causing the hooded figure to pause. Anakin's head turned sharply, his expression a mixture of rage and confusion. Bail lunged from his hiding spot, but with the clone trooper's blaster shot grazed his arm, sending him sprawling. Anakin's eyes flickered with recognition and a hint of the old Anakin as he wavered at first, commanding the troopers to stand down. Padme's heart pounded as she approached Anakin, her eyes never leaving his.
Anakin, this isn't you. The man I love, the father of our child. He would never do this.
She pleaded, her voice trembling yet resolute. Anakin's sapphire blade lowered slightly, his conflicted eyes meeting hers, wavering between the light and the dark.
They lied to me, Padme. They betrayed me.
He growled, his voice filled with pain and confusion. She stepped closer, her hand gently touching his cheek, tears streaming down her face.
No, Anakin, the real betrayal is what you've done to yourself. The fear and anger, they've poisoned you. But it's not too late. I believe in you. I believe in the good man you are. The one who fights for justice, not power.
Anakin's gaze softened, the temper within him calming as her words pierced through the darkness. His breath faltered, the weight of his actions crashing down on him.
I did this for us. For our future.
He whispered, the blue hue of his lightsaber flickering. Padme shook her head, her grip on his face firm yet tender.
Our future is in your hands, Anakin. Choose us. Choose the light.
A long, agonizing moment passed, and then, with a shuddering breath, Anakin deactivated his lightsaber, the darkness retreating from his eyes. He collapsed into Padme's arms, the reality of his actions sinking in, as she held him tightly, unsure if she could ever forgive him for killing children in cold blood, but knowing that for now, this redemption was enough. Anakin stood in the Great Hall with Order 66 happening all around him. Anakin would tell them about Palpatine, how he is the Sith Lord and behind the war, causing them to gasp. He tells Padme and Bail that he must reveal what has happened to the Republic. It is the only way to stop this madness. Padme's heart clenched with fear as she knew this confession would forever tarnish Anakin's reputation, but she also understood that it was necessary. With a resigned nod, she stepped aside as Anakin approached the HoloNet terminal in the temple. Padme and Bail guard over him. The galaxy had been watching the horrific events at the Jedi Temple unfold on the HoloNet, their screens filled with images of destruction and despair. Hey guys, did you want to be a Jedi or Sith for Halloween? Then our Halloween bundles from Fantasy Sabers are perfect for you. This includes your own Jedi gown in black or brown, accompanied by an assortment of sabers to choose from at a crazy discounted price. If the costume isn't for you, then we're offering a free belt clip, as well as 10% off every replica and some Padawan sabers with the code Halloween up until the 31st of October. With the belt clip, all you have to do is simply slide the clip on any standard belt, and the saber attaches perfectly through either the D-ring or Kovatek wheel. Please check the product description before you purchase, as there are a few sabers that are not compatible with the belt clip. Check out these deals on our website, the first link in the description. Anakin activated the broadcast, his image appearing before billions of viewers. He took a deep breath.
Citizens of the Republic,
he began, his voice steady but filled with remorse.
I am Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and I stand before you to confess my crimes, alongside the clone troopers. I have slaughtered the Jedi. We were deceived by a master manipulator, Chancellor Palpatine, who is, in fact, a Sith Lord named Darth Sidious. He orchestrated the Clone Wars to destroy the Jedi and seize control of the Republic.
He paused, gathering his thoughts as he presented the irrefutable evidence. Holographic recordings, intercepted communications, and documents linking Palpatine to the Sith.
I was blinded by my fears and seduced by promises of power, but I now see the truth. I beg for your forgiveness and ask for your help in bringing Palpatine to justice.
The galaxy watched in stunned silence as Anakin's words sank in, his heroic image shattered, replaced by the stark reality of his betrayal. Anakin called to the people of the Republic, saying that we must stand together to reclaim the Republic and not let the Jedi die. Around this time, Obi-Wan and Yoda would arrive on Coruscant, who had watched Anakin's broadcast live and were speechless. Kenobi was on the verge of tears, and Yoda tried to calm him. They had been ready for whatever dangers they would face. The coming hours and days would be crucial for the survival of the Republic. Meanwhile, back in the heart of the conflict, Anakin turned to Bail, questioning him about his knowledge of Order 66 as head of the Security Council. Bail was confused and assured Anakin that he had no prior knowledge but promised to investigate. With Padme's support, they contacted Kamino. At first, they were unwilling to reveal the information, but Bail, with Yoda's support, threatened to remove them as creators of the army. When the real blueprints were sent, the evidence revealed Order 66, a command placed within all of the clones. A command only executable by the Chancellor, designed to turn the clone army against the Jedi. As this revelation spread, Palpatine called an emergency Senate meeting, his image tainted by Anakin's broadcast, and he had to fix it. He denounced Anakin's accusations, claiming the wounds were inflicted by the Jedi who attempted to assassinate him. The Senate was thrown into chaos, torn between their decade-long trust in Palpatine and the shocking confession of Anakin, the poster boy of the Jedi Order. The Republic was on the verge of a large civil war. The uncertainty and fear rippled throughout the chamber, senators whispering and debating, their faith shaken to the core. Amidst this conflict, Anakin found himself face to face with Obi-Wan and Yoda as they arrived in the temple. Before they spoke about Anakin's actions, Yoda assured that there would be time for it later. Now, they had to expose and arrest Palpatine to save the Republic. They strategized their next moves. Bail and Padme stood in the Senate chamber. They moved their pods to the center and called for the arena's silence. Padme unveils blueprints and commands of Order 66, additional evidence that implicated Palpatine in the grand conspiracy that had torn the Republic apart. Palpatine was screwed. Significant evidence had been presented to prove his dark intentions, and he began to worry. He didn't know what to do. The chamber erupted in chaos, senators booing and shouting as the reality of their betrayal began to sink in. The tide was turning against Palpatine, and the noise from outside the Senate building grew louder as thousands of citizens, fueled by the revelation, rioted in the streets. The once stable foundation of the Republic shook with the people's anger and the senators' mounting distrust. Amidst the turmoil, Palpatine, sensing his grip on power slipping, lowered his pod back into his private office. However, this retreat was short-lived. Awaiting him in the dimly lit room stood Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda. They ignited their lightsabers as the confrontation began. Palpatine, revealing his true Sith nature, unleashed a torrent of Sith lightning, hitting their Jedi sabers. He snarled as he unleashed his red lightsaber. The battle was fierce and brutal, the small office becoming a whirlwind of clashing lightsabers and force attacks. Palpatine's mastery of the dark side was overwhelming, and in a vicious strike, he severed Obi-Wan's arms, sending him crashing to the floor in agony. With a roar of fury and determination, Anakin pressed the attack, his movements fueled by a desperate need of redemption. Yoda, with his agility and wisdom, provided crucial support, but it was Anakin who ultimately prevailed. Summoning all of his strength, he struck Palpatine down, the Sith Lord's body collapsing to the floor. He was dead. Anakin stood over the fallen Chancellor, and he knew that the following weeks would be difficult. As Bail Organa assumed the mantle of Supreme Chancellor, a sense of hope spread throughout the galaxy. Order 41 was swiftly enacted by the Republic Security Council, which reversed Order 66 and turned the clones back to normal. With Palpatine's demise, the Republic began to unravel the extent of his treachery, finding even more evidence hidden in his things. Yoda convenes with Obi-Wan to discuss Anakin's future within the Jedi Order. Despite Anakin's lawful actions, Yoda sensed a profound change within him. He was once on the dark side, but his actions had proven that he was no longer that person. With great caution and against the skepticism of many other Jedi survivors, Yoda made a monumentous decision. Anakin Skywalker would be allowed to remain within the Order, under strict supervision and rigorous trials of atonement. Under Yoda's patient guidance, Anakin began his journey of repentance and relearning the ways of the light. He delved into ancient Jedi texts and teachings, seeking to understand the true essence of the Force and the errors of his past. Together with Obi-Wan and other surviving Jedi, they embarked on the task of rebuilding the Jedi Order. They searched the galaxy for Force-sensitive individuals who had gone unnoticed. Training facilities were established on Coruscant alongside the refurbished Jedi Temple. Anakin, now known as Skywalker once more, took on the role of a mentor and teacher, imparting his hard-earned wisdom to the next generation of Jedi hopefuls. His fall and redemption was taught to the Jedi to learn what to avoid when growing up. They emphasized not only combat skills, but also diplomacy, philosophy, and the ethical responsibilities of wielding the Force. As the years passed, the Jedi Order flourished once more, its influence extending far and wide, nurturing a new sense of peace and justice for the people of the Republic. For Anakin and Padme, healing their fractured relationship was a slow and difficult journey. Anakin had lots of work to do to gain her trust back, but when Padme gave birth to Luke and Leia, and the two were forced to spend lots of time together raising their children, their love rekindled efficiently. For Padme, the sight of Anakin's interactions with their children brought back former emotions, reminding her of the caring husband she once had before the darkness consumed him. Through sleepless nights and moments of nurturing their younglings, Anakin showed a depth of compassion and commitment that melted Padme's guarded heart. His relentless determination to protect and provide for their family allowed Padme to return back to her former self, and they fell back in love. As peace slowly settled over the galaxy, the scars of the Clone Wars began to fade and were replaced by stability and happiness.
Ignite your imagination with fantasy sabers.
If you enjoyed today's video, you must watch What If Obi-Wan was on Coruscant during Order 66, and What If Anakin became a Jedi Master during the Clone Wars. Please check out our saber shop, Fantasy Sabers, for the largest collection of replicas, Padawan sabers, and many more. The link is first in the description. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you.